Hello, comic book guys and gals, and welcome to Comic Mag Musings. This spell is your host, Bill Miller. All right, I'm super excited. Why, you ask? Because we are doing another 5 undervalued, under the radar spec books that you can pick up right now for dirt cheap. All right, so let's get into it. First, we have Cursed Pirate Girl, Devil's Cave, issue number 1. This is the only one in this series. It's from 2022. It's written by, interior art by, cover art by Jeremy Bastian. Really fun book. It's about a little girl who becomes a pirate in order to track down and ultimately free her father. And it chronicles her adventures. The whole series does. It'd be perfect for a movie, in my opinion. Now, there are 3 original Cursed Pirate Girl issues from 2009, but those are pretty expensive. Over $100 for the first, and the second or third are right around there, between $70 and $100. So this would be a really good alternative to the original series. Cursed Pirate Girl. A fun read, can be challenging, beautiful artwork, but there's definitely some freedom, refreshing to a certain degree, taken with the traditional comic book reading format. So it can be a little bit confusing, a little bit challenging to follow at times. But it's fun nonetheless. So Cursed Pirate Girl, The Devil's Cave, issue number 1. You can get this for $8 to $10 in near mint. $8 to $10 for a high grade copy. All right, next up, we have Scene of the Crime, issue number 1. From 1999, 4 issues in this series. This is about a private investigator who's hired by a gentleman named Alex Jordan to help find his missing sister Maggie. And in the process, the private eye discovers dark family secrets, encounters a bunch of lies from family members, and of course, he stumbles across a sex cult. It's a fun read, art and cover art by Michael Lark, but the key to this is it's written by Ed Brubaker. And he is an excellent, for my money, the best modern criminal noir writer. And he has a deal with Legendary Television Studios to produce some of his creator-owned work, Scene of the Crime included. Even though it's a Vertigo title, which is owned a subsidiary by DC, creators still have rights. They just have to split some of that with DC. But at any rate, he has a deal with Legendary Television Studios to take some of his creator-owned content and perhaps make it into other forms of media, television shows, streaming services, television shows, movies, things like that. So Scene of the Crime, issue number 1. You can get this for $2 to $3 for a high-grade copy. $2 to $3. Ed Brubaker, of course, wrote Criminal, Velvet, Kill or Be Killed. What else did he write? Fade Out, Sleeper, Fatale. Just a brilliant writer. And usually I will recommend indies for pickups because, number 1, they're usually really cheap, really affordable. But beyond that, you have streaming services, television studios, movie production companies animation studios that are all looking for content. And DC takes care of their stuff, Marvel takes care of their stuff. And so kind of in between, you have the indies. And they run the gamut as far as topics and genres. So they're very attractive to at least option. They don't cost a lot of money to option, and generally the optioning partner only has to work with one or two creators in order to get that done. Now, if something takes off that's an indie, it'll usually be issue number 1 that will see a spike in value. Not always, but usually it's issue number 1. But for one that isn't an indie, we have Silver Surfer, issue number 50. This is from 1991. There are 147 issues in this series. Art by Ron Lim, written by Jim Starlin. I believe this is the first foil embossed comic. This one right here. But it's a classic cover key. And I just think it's a really good pickup right now. This is the newsstand edition. There's also a direct edition, which costs a little bit more. And the direct edition also has a second printing and a third printing. It'll say it right here. It'll say second printing and third printing above. I think it's a Silver Surfer or something right there. So be on the lookout for those. Plus, if you find any error printings that have some of the foil or all of the foil missing, those can be worth a pretty penny. But with Fantastic Four, Silver Surfer eventually coming to MCU, I think this is a really good pickup right now. You can get this for between $6 and $10 for a near mint copy. $6 to $10, Silver Surfer number 50. This is a good alternative. The first series is really expensive, especially issues number 1 and 4. And number 1 of this series has gotten pretty expensive, but number 50 is an anniversary issue. It's a very popular issue and is slowly becoming a cover key. So Silver Surfer issue number 50, $6 to $10 for a high grade copy. Now typically a lot of spec videos you'll see, you'll see talks about books that are hundreds of dollars. To me that may be good for investors, but it doesn't make a lot of sense when you're talking about the average person that has maybe a couple shekels to put down on something that's risky. With most of the ones that I recommend, they're very affordable, and at the very least, they're very good reads. One of those would be Remains, issue number 1. This is, when is this from? 2004. There are 5 issues in this series. Art by Kieran Dwyer, written by Steve Niles. Steve Niles, of course, did Criminal Macabre, one of my all-time favorite series. He did A Leicester Arcane, Freaks of the Heartland, 30 Days of Night, City of Dust. This is about I think it's a dealer, a blackjack dealer, and an exotic dancer that are in Las Vegas that get trapped, surrounded by an army of zombies. And the only thing they know is that they need to break out and escape. And it chronicles their attempts to do so. Really good story, as with most of Steve Niles' stories. Now, this was originally made into a small release movie called Steve Niles Remains. But I could see this being re-released. That was in 2011. I could see it being re-released with a larger distribution or even having a sequel made. So Remains #1, $2 to $3 for a near mint copy. $2 to $3 Remains #1. All right, and last but not least, we have Ufology issue #1. From 2015, 6 issues in this series. Art and cover art by Matt Fox. The key to this is it's written by James Tynion, not the second. Don't get it twisted, it's not the third, but the fourth. James Tynion the fourth. And he wrote, Something is Killing the Children, House of Slaughter, Department of Truth. And he has a deal with Substack for his creator-owned content as well as video comics. And ultimately getting some of those video comics printed. This is about a young girl named Becky Finch who was touched by an alien, and that changes her life forever. Her and her friend Malcolm, they start investigating more about this alien presence on Earth, and whether or not it's been covered up. And in the process, they discover a family secret of hers that goes back to 12 years prior. You can get this. This is the C cover, but you can get a high-grade example for $3 to $4. Ufology #1, $3 to $4. And this is a second C cover. This is the 1 in 10 variant. All right, so let's do a quick summary. We have Ufology #1. We have Remains #1. And this is from 2004. 5 issues in this series. Silver Surfer #50. Scene of the Crime #1. And Cursed Pirate Girl Devil's Cave issue #1. And that will do it for our 5 speculative comic books for today. I hope you enjoyed seeing them. And if you did, I would encourage you to subscribe and hit that notification bell. That way you're alerted as soon as I release new videos. Thumbs up and comments are always appreciated. And remember, we're taking over the world one comic book at a time.